welcome. It's the weekend, folks. It's the weekend. Playing some good times here. Got a good show for you today. Migrant Mayhem, DJ Wonder Chrissy. January 20th, Saturday. It's the weekend. Let's get going. Let's get in the jive. Let's start the weekend out right. We've got mayhem to address. Gonna be starting soon here, folks. Thank you for joining. Like, share, and subscribe. We are tops in the Migrant Mayhem updates. One of the few channels that comes out of Chicago and where it's happening, folks. I think we've been doing this for like a month and a half now. We are experts in mayhem, believe me. Welcome. AHR82, thank you for joining. Like, share, subscribe. I am DJ Wonder Chrissy. This is Migrant Mayhem. We got a good show for you today. So what's going on, right? What's going on in the migrant stratosphere? Well, our first video clip that we'll show you here, you're going to find out that shelters are bursting at the seams. In general, they have twice as many people in a shelter than they should. We got some good news. We'll have a clip at the end from our friend Adam Klepp, who actually went to the Chicago Food Depository. They said that they are meeting the demand, and they've got additional funding, at least for now, from our federal government and the state and city, I believe. Maybe not the federal, I think state and city. State and city have upped their donations to the food depository, and they're meeting the demand for now. And he talks about how the demand has gone up 10% in the last month or so. So expect that to be high going forward because, 100% of people that are coming here that are asylum seekers, the border buddies, the illegals, the migrants, whatever you want to call them, are in need of social services and food stamps. That's a given, right? 100%. None of these people can support themselves. It seems to be a common theme. I've got nieces and nephews who are in their 30s who are still being supported by their parents, so I guess this doesn't surprise me. So let's go and look at some of these videos and get our update for today.
When the Gage Park Field House was converted into a shelter, residents were told it could hold as many as 250 people. Today, it houses almost 400.
That shelter is bursting at the seams. We have the two original sides of the field house that were designated for men and women, and then we had to open up additional space in the basement and in the cafeteria area to put more beds in.
The city's largest shelter at a Pilsen warehouse was originally planned to house 1,000 new arrivals.
Guess how much this is holding now. Designed for 1,000. Yes, folks. This will surprise you.
Now holds 2,500.
We have
Wow.
15,000 people right now
Wow.
in city shelters, and the growing need has made it very difficult for the city to be able to provide dignified conditions.
Mutual aid groups, including Southwest Collective, have been talking to shelter residents as the groups hand out food outside. Executive Director Jamie Grath-Cyril says
Nobody can get into these shelters. So this is good information. Brandon, let's go Brandon and his buddies are not allowing anybody in. So some of this work that these nonprofits are doing to just find out what's going on in there and getting video is immense.
illnesses are spreading easily.
That there's not enough space for people to quarantine. The second is the medical intake. It's taking too long for people to get seen and then followed up with.
Overcrowded shelters was expected. The city decompressed the police stations, and during this cold weather, new arrivals have been moved out of warming buses at the landing zone. And because the money is drying up, Mayor Brandon Johnson put a hold on opening new city shelters and paused the 60-day shelter eviction policy until February 1st.
All of these shelters were designed to be temporary and try to move people out, but we've seen that come to a screeching halt with the addition of more bodies being sent here.
Aldermen and mutual aid groups fear that if the city does not open new shelters soon, this humanitarian crisis can turn into a humanitarian catastrophe.
Watch.
So there you go. There's an update on that. We got some more videos here. Which one do we want to go with? So Texas Governor Abbott stopped sending them when we had that real cold spell. Today I think it's like 0 out, but I heard last night they were expecting 4 more buses to hit Chicago. So the buses have obviously started up again, thus the need for more space, thus the overcrowding that's going on. So let's look at the international outcry for more money and Joe Bergen to do something here. So we'll play this little update here from Fox News Chicago.
Administration is expecting an earful from city mayors. They are fed up with the nation's immigration crisis as the White House blames Republicans. This comes as the Secretary of Homeland Security is facing an impeachment effort on Capitol Hill. And joining us this morning with more is Shannon Breen.
This is a good
morning. Thanks so much for being here with us.
Level.
Good morning. Great to be with you.
So here in Chicago, of course, we are facing rising numbers of incoming migrants as many big cities. Falling temperatures, of course, right now.
Incoming!
Here. So the mayor, along with New York City's mayor, is pleading for help from Washington. How is Secretary of Homeland Security Alejandro Mayorkas responding?
Well, he essentially says that they are controlling the border. A lot of folks push back against that. What do you mean by control? Because Democrats and Republicans, people who don't have a party affiliation, say what they see there is disturbing. It's chaotic. And you mentioned the Democrats that are now publicly speaking out. They've been begging. They've been calling out the president, calling out the White House publicly. So it's become a very, very difficult issue for them. It pulls terribly for the president, especially in the middle of a re-election campaign. And to have all of these folks out there publicly from his own party saying we are desperate and you need to get control of this is putting a lot of pressure on the White House, which gives some folks in Washington some hope that maybe these Senate negotiations over a border deal might actually be substantive and go somewhere.
I don't think so. Don't expect anything in Washington to go well.
Because there's a lot of pressure on the White House.
Yeah, and there's been a lot of pressure on Congress to get some type of a government shutdown avoided by the deadline, which was tonight. But
As we keep telling you folks, don't expect anyone to come to help you. Help yourself. Be prepared. Don't expect anyone. Let me repeat that. Do not expect anyone to come and help you. Rely on yourself and you'll be a hell of a lot better and not further down the line to self-sufficiency, and you'll be much happier.
some on the far right are still skeptical of using the temporary measure again for the third time. Talk a little bit more about how you think things play out in the next day.
Down the road.
So a snowstorm was rolling into D.C. You guys are pros there in Chicago. It's a little tougher for the folks in D.C., so they really wanted to get this thing done. They got the measure passed last night that buys them a few more weeks. But again, they'll have 12 appropriations bills to get through the House and the Senate. Can they get it done by March? They haven't gotten it done so far. So I think Washington should understand why so many of us are skeptical about this. Congress has got a 19% approval rating. And yeah, the Speaker has got a really tough situation in that they've got the tiniest majority they've ever held. It's the smallest majority ever in the history of Congress for the GOP. So there's not a lot to work with when you have conservatives who say, we don't want to vote for this. And many of them didn't vote for that continuing resolution last night. But they've got to find a way forward, or we're going to be doing this again in March.
Yeah, and I'm sure the Speaker is also looking what happened to the last Speaker after he worked out a deal that included Democrats.
Yep.
So,
all right, enough of Washington. Let's get into everyone loves Adam.
They say
Left, so we'll
Others have commented.
let's get this one queued up for you. Adam's from Arizona, and he's spending some time in Chicago doing some reporting, and this may be a little bit dated. It's a couple days old, but he gives a good synopsis of what's going on in Chicago. So let's get this one queued up, and let me introduce our buddy Adam Clapp, who's in Chicago and having a great time. And notice he doesn't even have a coat on. He must be hot.
These warming buses, they were being used for public transportation. Now they've been turned into makeshift migrant shelters, as the migrants themselves tell me they've been living and sleeping on those buses for days.
In the shadow of the city's tallest building, migrants wait on the streets to be placed in shelters. Buses provided by Chicago are the only refuge.
Yeah, these buses have been replaced. They got rid of them when it went down to zero, so they may come back later.
From the freezing temperatures.
Right now, the situation.
Here's our famous guy from Costa Rica, who everyone thinks is a criminal. I have a tendency to agree with you, folks. This guy, there's something not right about this guy.
The process to the immigration is not good.
Sometimes nonprofits come by to give out water and winter clothes. Michael, a migrant from Costa Rica, says he
looks like we got the United States bobsled team here for some reason. I'm not sure about that.
He's been sleeping on the buses for 3 days, sending me this video showing what it's like every night, saying this is not what he and other migrants expected to find.
Some more bobsled team members there. They must be doing some volunteer work or something.
In America.
Did you think it would be like this when you got here?
No, never in the life.
While Michael is by himself, others have come with their entire families.
They say there is nothing. The shelters are full. I am desperate because I have been here for 6 days with my 3 small children.
As the migrant situations worsen, organizations like the Chicago...
This is where he talks to the people at the food depository. I got some good news for the migrants, at least. I thought we were going to have some issues with the depository, but it appears things are going well for now.
Chicago Food Depository have been stepping in to help. Jim Conwell gives me a tour of their warehouse.
So it's even bigger than what you see here today.
Where every day, he says, over 300,000 pounds of food leaves to get delivered across Chicago.
We believe that food is a human right, and no one in our community should go without food.
Now the migrants have become a big part of that community. Conwell says asylum seekers are 10% of their service base. With increased state and city funding, they've been able to keep up with the increasing demand.
We haven't had to sacrifice or reduce our response for longtime Chicagoans who need food assistance.
I hope this is true, but if it's not, it's not like people wouldn't lie to you, right? Sometimes we like to get the narrative out there, even though it's not the truth.
Because we're also responding to the needs of new arrivals. We've been able to do both.
But back on the streets, it's clear much more than food is needed to help. The city has now spent
more bobsled team members
and over $150 million supporting migrants. Michael tells me he's not sure how much longer he'll be welcome.
The people don't like it, the immigrant, and I know that. But bro, me and everybody, I have a dream.
Bro, I got a dream.
The best option, the best life. but this is so hard.
According to the city, over 30,000 migrants have arrived in Chicago since 2022. And as of January,
that number's up to 34,000. Most recent number, 34,000 in our city, 600 and some buses.
over 500 of them are waiting in the city's police stations, airports, and warming buses for placement in a shelter. Reporting in Chicago, Adam Klepp, KGUN 9.
So there you go. There's our favorite reporter besides Casey Cronus. Casey Cronus is a great reporter. But yeah, who would think that Costa Rica would be more difficult than Chicago, right? Come on, guy. Guy left Costa Rica, supposedly. I think he was shown the door by Costa Rica or some other Latin American country based on his tattoos and everything else. And he seems like he might have been here in the past. He seems like he's commanded the language of English pretty well, which was kind of peculiar. You know, weird circumstances surrounding that one. We got to be careful who we let in, folks, because we haven't been doing that, and there's a lot of crime going on. If you watch, I haven't really covered that lately, but around Christmas time, a lot of organized crime going on at the malls. Oak Brook Center just had day after day. Macy's, maybe why Macy's is closing more stores, is they've been losing stuff out the door like you would not believe. And I keep seeing where they're arresting these people and they just let them go. Some of them, they say, they ask them where they're being housed and they just say tent. So it's getting crazy in Chicago. It's going to get much crazier, as I expect. The only thing that's stopping the craziness right now is the weather. But as we see the buses ramp up again, we're going to see a lot of weird stuff happen. And as I said, they're going to start coming out into the suburbs. And as I had a video yesterday where had a gentleman talked about having someone knock on his door. Migrant here. Got any food, clothing, money? Give me some dinero. They're using their Joe Bergen phones to translate that they want more money. They're showing up at your door. It's getting crazier and crazier, folks. There's just so many migrant stories out there that I just can't keep them all straight. So thank you for joining us. I'm going to end here. I am DJ Wonder Chrissy. This is Migrant Mayhem. Check out all of our videos that we got out there. We got all sorts of. I just let go a video a couple days ago about some news about how the people in Naperville want to house migrants in their homes. Yeah, go think about that. That's just crazy. This is Land Cruiser Midwest. Like, share, subscribe. And as always, we end. God bless Donald Trump. Thank you.